Hi, Facebook. We are live with the beautiful Opheana and Sikaal. Thank you guys for coming, and for everybody who isn't able to make it today live, welcome to the replay as well, because I know a lot of you crew are going to come on tonight and do this, so and watch it. I'd like to introduce these two beautiful people. How I know them is I worked with them quite a few years ago in the same healing clinic, and just instantly loved them, and we've just liked them ever since. So I've done personal work with them, and as I said in one of my other Facebook lives, that I don't know if you two know this, you were the first two people to have ever. I used to do all these amazing journeys to different planets and multi-dimensional stuff and that in my head.
Yes.
And I just never, maybe because I'm Scorpio, or I just never considered speaking about it to anybody. Like, it wasn't an outside conversation. And then when I sat down in that session with you two, and you journeyed to the same places as me, and there was no even hardcore preparation. We didn't have to meditate for 3 months, or do you know what I mean? It was lovely. It was a really it made me feel not so alone, and I didn't know that I had even been feeling alone. So it was exceptional and a beautiful experience for me, just to understand that other people are similar to me, and that I'm not necessarily unique in that way, which was really profound for me. So yeah. So welcome. And what would you like to say about yourselves? What do you do? What do you have to offer the beautiful community?
We're spiritual life coaches and teachers of universal consciousness. Also, we're intuitive empaths and channels, and twin flames, and we also have 4 kids, all new kids. So, we're coming from a wide spectrum of sharing with people.
Yeah.
What do you mean by new kids? Just a quick question.
Basically, the new energies coming in, the crystalline children, there was the indigos and
crystal kids,
and the
rainbow kids.
Yeah, so new kids as in highly conscious, high vibrational children that have come in to get some work done.
Okay, cool.
As you're I'm sure.
Yes. And I interrupted you. What were you going to say?
Well, really, we're multidimensional beings here having a human journey to assist starseeds to ignite and awaken what they're here to do. So our mission is just and we're very, very serious about it. We're so focused on it, and we're really in a beautiful place now where we can just 100% just put our focus into it. To really remind people who they are. There's so many starseeds and light workers that have just forgotten. They have the inkling, they have the spirituality sort of compartmentalized, but they don't realize it's really everything. It's who they are. So that's where we go.
What do you define as a starseed? Like, I know it's a fair few of my watchers that are really, really spiritual and understand this, but there's also a lot of people that I see day to day who are and just don't understand those words. They don't put themselves in that box. So how would you interpret what a starseed is?
Yeah.
And I think with everything we're sharing today, we're sharing it from our own perspective of how we feel it as well. So it's not about the perfect terminology of everything encompassing what is a starseed, but it's when you feel very connected to galactic universal energies, to the stars, to maybe certain realms like the Pleiades or
Sirius,
Venus or Sirius, the Lionsgate. We're talking about that one today. Many other realms. So starseeds often feel at home out there and often need to ground that here on Earth. They need to really come to feel home here on Earth. They often have a lot of connections to all of these origins, and they find their way again. A lot of them have missions here. So they're not just here to live a normal life, but they're here to actually have a mission to, like, for instance, for ours, a big part of ours is to ignite and awaken other starseeds to their mission. So we are here to also help the starseed crew and thus connect to humanity. So starseeds often have all of those elements, we find.
Yeah.
Do they need to know? I know when I first started with all of this stuff, as I said, I didn't really speak about it. I didn't have words for it. It was just a space where I was. I found it really hard to be practical. Unless I was really focused, then I could do it easily. But just my everyday, I wasn't a practical being. As much as I am connected to the earth, it was so much easier for me to manifest in dream world and spend a lot of my time in that space, even as a kid, you know. So now I understand those things as I've done more work on myself, I understand and I remember different places that I've been to and stuff like that. But for those people who've not necessarily spent a lot of time in meditation or done, you know, years and years of work where they've been able to develop a trust in this, coming back to the star seeds and stuff again, what are some of those practical everyday things like that they find challenging? Do you know what I mean? What I'm trying to get at? Like how can they not necessarily define themselves, but know that this is something that they're in line with?
Yeah, well, really, it really comes down to absolute basics and simplicity.
Yeah.
Our number one that we always use is the pillar, which is just being grounded here. And it's not like, okay, I'm going to be grounded in the earth and hug the trees. It's literally connection to source through your heart space and really deeply connecting that into the earth, and so that you have your pillar of energy. Your energetic pillar is so strong and so powerful that you can be who you are. And so you are grounding on this planet who you really are, not being a person, a human like everybody else. So as you said, so many people feel weird all of the time growing up. I'm a bit weird. Oh, I need to be a bit more like this. Or I'm thinking weird thoughts. Obviously, other people aren't thinking that. So I won't share it, or I'll keep it to myself and I'll try and be more like them. And so the most practical thing that we've found is really just mastering the pillar. You know, we suggest to clients 3 times a day, just really, really grounding 3 times a day. And a lot of people, they can do their grounding work, but they might be 80% grounded. Yeah. And that 20% just leaves them a little bit not themselves, you know. And so practical wise, that would be one of the number one keys for sure.
Yeah, but also I think maybe the energy you're feeling there, Kelly's, a lot of star seeds already have some of their clair senses open.
Yeah.
They're either see energy, feel energy, or feel everyone's emotions, and they don't know what to do with it. They're empathic, and they think
it's like, themselves, but it's not. It's other people.
Exactly.
I'm going to go a lot further into that.
And that often means it's harder to ground because you pull up because you're feeling all this stuff, or you're seeing some people see the energies, or are constantly being communicated to by guides. And so that's a journey as well that often starseeds have to learn to deal with their sensitive nature or their clair senses that are a lot more enhanced often from the beginning than others. And especially these new kids, like you were saying before, they come in with a lot of them open. For them, it's really normal to see energies or to feel everything or to hear people's thoughts. You know, they randomly pick up thoughts that you just thought and they say them and spit them out. And so that's a lot of starseeds develop that as well. We also find, though, that a lot of starseeds really need this igniting and awakening because they're a little dormant. They're a little sleepy. They think they're just on a normal human journey, but they're not. They're actually here for a bigger journey. And so to step into that often means moving through some layers of beliefs that you're different, but you don't really know why. And there's something you need to do, but you don't really know what. So you kind of just keep cruising at normal altitude, but there's more there to be, ignited.
And I find that I know for myself and a lot of people that I see that they're constantly having to heal because they're not grounded, they don't know who they are. So they're not just healing their stuff, they're healing everybody else's around them, but they feel like it's them. So I would suggest that maybe today is really good too, because we're going to do the pillar. Those people who are in that constant washing machine all the time, like because they don't understand their own boundaries and who they are. And I find with star seeds especially, like the more earthy beings, as much as I'm earthy as well, but the ones who are really grounded here, they're the ones who are like rocks, and you know, they understand their boundaries. It's so clear. That's a really awesome old school salty, you know, bushman kind of they get it.
Very connected with nature. Yeah, I really see that a lot.
For
you know, we see a lot of you know, normalish looking people who are very much connected to nature, that are raising their frequency just very naturally. They're not doing anything spiritual. They're just being. They're just really being authentically who they are. A couple of other tips with the sensitivities as a starseed, empath, intuitive. Even if you don't know if you're an empath, it's really like you said, you can be feeling other people's emotions. One of the very, very simple keys is to, if you choose it, you can close your feeling center, your solar plexus, to specific people. Keep your heart open, but by doing that, you actually stop feeling their stuff. You can still be fully connected with them, but and you know, for instance, in one moment you can be, you know, in fetal position crying your eyes out, but you're actually channeling the other person's emotions. And if you play with this at any time, you can feel the emotion, close your feeling center to that person, it will instantly be gone, like instantly.
That's the key, isn't it? It's actually doing it for yourself and experiencing it. It's like, because as much as we talk about this and introduce everybody to these concepts, if they don't try this and they don't get that feeling from the inside, and that taking knowledge to wisdom, they're going to continue in it. So everybody listening, like, this stuff that we say today might seem really, really simple, and it is. It doesn't mean it's easy all the time.
Yeah.
But try it, experience it for yourself, let it become your wisdom. And then, you know, it might have to be that you tailor it a little bit to what you feel on the day. But yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. Hey, it's about that, actually having to do it for yourself and knowing that it's true.
Yes, experiencing it.
But like you said, that helps with your own boundaries, because you are in the washing machine all the time if you don't know what who you are and who the other person is, especially if you're so sensitive. So things like closing your feeling center takes a little bit of practice, but it's actually a very simple technique, because it's kind of like you're in a room and everybody has their TV on and their phone out loud and they're watching different things and listening to different radio stations. You go a bit nutty. Why? Because you can't listen to your own thoughts, your own inner feelings, your own guidance. So if you then turn everybody's stuff off while it's still happening, then all of a sudden you can get clarity. And that's the same with this closing your feeling center, but also your pillar will help with that, because your pillar connects you to source and connects you to earth, which is it's kind of like your tube of your energetic frequency. It means you're you, and then you get to feel you get to know who you are. Your guides can talk to you, your team can talk to you, Gaia can clear your energy. And if you don't do that, you're just kind of waving around like on the ocean, like you're like, whoa, and oh, and hitting this and getting a wave slapped in your face here. And it doesn't mean that if you do your pillar, you don't get any of that. It just means that if you do your pillar, you're more of you anchored here, and you're a clearer channel. Doesn't mean you have to channel like in what you call channeling, but you bring through your spirit here on earth. And that's what it's about, embodying more of your spirit within this body, within these lower energy bodies, so your spirit can be here on earth, especially as a starseed on a mission.
And I think because a lot of people find it difficult or scary to think that they don't want to go inside, you know, like, because they've never done it, so they're so full, and going inside is scary. But that's what I love about this pillar technique, is that once they try it, they'll realize that they're not as bad as they thought they were. Half of the stuff's inside them is everybody else's shit. And two, the earth Gaia is amazing, and all of this energy that they feel inside them that's so dark or scary, or, you know, stuff that they're replaying from when they were 3 and stuff, Gaia wants it back, and she just neutralizes it and turns it into growing flowers or baby birds, or, you know, letting Pele in Hawaii explode. Like, we don't need to keep it in our bodies, but this is an experiential thing. When they start to do this for themselves, they'll really get it, because it's amazing. Yummy.
What are we doing?
Yeah, I just want to say one thing, translating that through, because like you said, turns it into flowers and energy. We often say that in meditations, you know, hand it down to Gaia and she turns it back into universal love and light, which are like, you could see that as building blocks to this, but also universally and galactically. So you hand over something that was built, which an energetic system that no longer works, it's old, it holds you back, hand it down, it's transformed like building blocks. It's like recycling energy in the end, but it becomes fresh again.
That's it. It's exactly it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Okay, so setting up the pillar.
Yeah, so
yep, great.
So for those of you that would like to do it, basically we go into the heart space first of all, and breathing into your heart space, and within your heart space is a threefold flame. And if you would like to have a look, you could see it as pink, blue, and golden energy. And as you breathe, this flame increases in size until it's a sphere 6 feet in every direction from your heart space. And it's just with intention. The sphere grows to 6 feet in every direction. And then breathing down to Gaia, this energy extends, grows down to the center of Gaia to connect with her heart space. You can wrap the energy around her heart. You can connect it in like a magnet. You can anchor it in, and then breathe from the center of Gaia all the way up through the base of your chakras, through your crown, all the way to source. And then again, magnetically connecting to source, and then breathing that energy down to Mother Gaia through all of your energy bodies, and breathing up to source and breathing down to Gaia. And usually it's an instant calming, it's an instant place of peace. You can really feel the frequency of who you are, the centeredness, the stillness, and then we can call in the teams as well to support this session that we're having.
Okay, so the teams we call in, see which ones you resonate with. These are the ones we always work with. It could be very personal, but we'll call them in now and they'll support the process, and see if you can feel this. And you can see the teams as energy supporting you, like your guides and, you know, your spirit and whatever works for you within your system at the moment. Okay, we ask for the angels, the archangels, the ascended masters, and the karmic board to merge deeply and fully with us now through all dimensions of our fields. We ask for our God presences, our guides, our ascension councils to work in harmonious group consciousness together. So the highest of the highest of the highest will be shown you today for all of us in here and now. And I think we anchor the temples as well. Temples, the way we work with them, are energetic fields of a certain frequency. And one of them is we ask for a temple of Mother Gaia grounding to anchor and activate through all dimensions of our fields. We ask for a temple of divine union to anchor and activate through all dimensions of our fields. And finally, calling on a God Presence Communion Temple to anchor and activate through all dimensions of our fields. And really, if you haven't heard of this stuff before, and if it brings up anything, that's okay. Just look into that. You know, this is an energetic field, an energetic frequency that is supportive of you. And you are a multi-dimensional being. You're not just this body that you can squeeze right now. You're so much more. And, you know, you may understand you've got emotions and you've got your mind. So you've got those, you know, emotional energy body, mental energy body, but you've got your spiritual energy body as well. You are a spirit. You've got a soul. You've got guides. There's so much more than just this earthly life. You are multidimensional. And by calling in these energetic fields, we actually bring it all together. So a lot of you can probably feel something's a bit different now. You probably feel a bit more stillness. You can feel more peace maybe, or
a little bit of buzz.
A bit of buzz, a bit of zing around you. And whatever it is for you, even if it's some resistance to, ooh, these are strange concepts and strange words that I don't know and I'm not sure about them, that's okay. Because you must understand your spirit and your soul is always doing what is right for you. And always guiding you to what is right for you. So sometimes when you have new things, it's just about understanding, does this sit for me or not? Like tasting a new food. Is this a taste I like or not? It doesn't mean that you can't taste it. Then when you taste it, you're like, yeah, no, I don't like the sourness of that particular food, or I love the sweetness of this food. And that's how you explore in life and learn who you are. So by Kellie and us introducing some new words and techniques and concepts to you, it's simply take it in. You may or may not like them, and then use what does work for you.
Yeah. I feel really expanded now. I can feel like so much more around me. But just interestingly, because I'm thinking about it, usually I would just do this naturally, but well, I've got you guys here, that I can feel there's a big energy over my right shoulder. I always feel like I need to remove it, whereas today I'm getting that maybe it's not about removal, maybe it's about integration. So when people are in their pillar, like if they're in their pillar now and they're feeling, especially if they're empathetic and this is a new thing for them, or even an old thing for them, it's great to go back to basics. Yeah. If they're feeling themselves, but then they can feel these other blocks of energy or color or shape, things like that, what do you suggest? Do you do that? Do you feel that? Or do you remove stuff, or how do you process within a pillar?
Yeah, so I mean, we do a lot of energy management, you know. What we call energy management is clearing, cleansing, but we also do downloads, activations. So yeah, we have all sorts basically. I mean, when I have my own meditation, I'm quite an explorer, so I just slip into wormholes and portals and go on trips and assist other beings and get downloads myself and go to all sorts of different dimensions and get crystals, you know. So there's many different experiences that you can have once you're in the temple space. And that's why we always say, once you're in the temple space, you create the frequency, whatever you want to call it, where you're in a very high frequency. Then when your guides, or what we call your presence, your higher self, your spirit, shows you colors, shows you an energy, shows you symbols, it's your team speaking to you that something either needs to be addressed, or this is what's happening. Are you ready for this download? There's more integration needed here. If in the beginning they are just pictures or symbols, to really read into what could that be, you know. However, if it does feel like a more darker energy, then learn how to do energetic clearing. You know, we have an energetic manual, management manual, which really goes through how to use the temples, how to use different clearing techniques to clear entities, implants, programs, negative portals, all of that.
Energetic cords.
Cutting cords. I mean, you know, cutting cords is basic. We have many meditations on YouTube as well that can assist with all of that. It's really, I mean, what direction do you want to sort of go with it, Kel? Is there a specific sort of energy?
I suppose I just want to introduce these concepts to people, like that, especially if they're feeling it for the first time. I really like the fact that you've got that manual. I think it's the one that I've got when I did the pod. Is that the same one? Yeah. Just sort of coming back in, I'm a bit spacey now. It's like I have minds going up in different places.
Click the personality back in.
I suppose a biggest thing, like maybe just the basics for me, a basic would be letting everyone know that the power of using their breath. So even if they don't understand it, if they get a bit scared, like I'm an explorer too. I like going off and playing into different places. But with that, I'm more of an explorer now because I'm confident in myself when I'm in these places. Whereas people coming in and, you know, they've maybe never done this before. For me, the best way to get confident is to stay in my body and breathe while I'm not in my body. So just using your breath, being interested, being curious. What are some other really good basics for people if they're doing this for the first time and don't necessarily understand the terminology, or are worried that they're going to get sucked away and never come back? Is that possible? Is it true?
No, it's good to actually address that, because I think a lot of people, especially people interested in what you represent and what we represent, or that are drawn to our energetic frequencies, are people who are automatically probably more sensitive, or maybe more prone to have their clair senses already open or will be opening, maybe have missions. A lot of them will have missions. So it's that sort of group that will be drawn to our frequencies as we connect as well. And when you're that sensitive, it's important to have some basic steps that work for you. We always, no matter whether we do sessions, group sessions, whether we do chats, videos, everything, we always, set up the pillar, which doesn't have to take very long, can be done in 30 seconds or a minute. Then we call in the teams, and then we set up temples. So it means we know who we are, we got our gang with us, and we're in the temple, so they bring that frequency and extra energetics. And so
not to lower frequency.
Yeah, so if you're just like, okay, I'm going to do none of that, and I'm just going to go and explore whatever and go wherever I want, you can do that. But often then you might collect certain things, or you might sort of find yourself going off in areas that you're not sure where you are. And it's nice to have your support team with you and to know who you are when you go traveling, because it's your energetic signature. So that would be a good tip, is to have your practice. This is what we always go by and have done so for decades now. And so this is our go-to place when we do astral travel. Because I think one thing to mention that I got from the teams as well is the realization when you were saying, I have something here in my energetic field, is when you close your eyes and you go within with meditation, and you go within to find answers, because that's when you're connected to all that is. And what you see outside of you, you could see as a hologram, a projection of who you are as well, which can always change. And so what's manifested outside of you is often this energy or this information coming from within you, if that makes sense. Not to make it complicated, but inside of you. That's why meditation is not outside of you looking for things, but going within, because that's where you're connected to all that is, the universe, whatever you want to call it, all of the world, and all the people and everything that exists. So that's why you go within. And so when you have something manifest outside of you, whether it's a color or a shape, or you feel something, then it means it's something to be addressed, whether it needs to be cleared or you're getting a download. You know, sometimes if you ever had that feeling, you just get tired and it's like something's being downloaded through you. That's extra information, or packages of your next steps on your mission, or giving you information on what's going to help you in your next week or your next months to guide you on, next parts of your journey. And so when something's in your field that draws your attention and you feel you are centered, because you can go out into a busy city and everything draws your attention. Why? Because it's meant to, but that doesn't mean it's your guidance. That's why it's important to know who you are and to be grounded when you're looking for guidance. Because or else if you're flicking around on Facebook and flicking around on TV channels or YouTube channels, you'll get guidance everywhere, because you'll be drawn to pictures and colors and sounds. But that's not always guidance. It's guidance when you're you, when you're in yourself.
I find just listening to you then, it was reminding me when I first started doing this, it's that layer thing. You think you've dealt with everything and stuff like that, but it also goes the other way as you're learning. It's like we really are looked after. So when we first do the pillar and start coming in with this, especially if we're grounding into Mother Gaia, which is just earth energy, we're made of that stuff, like it's so easy for us to do. Even if it's hard, that's part of what we need to clear. So using our breath and just keeping it simple. A lot of times we don't, we get given what we can handle, and each time we do it, it gets, I remember when I did the pod with you guys, there was a couple of sessions in there where I got really sick. I just wanted to vomit, and I hit my wall. And so I backed off and I just spent some time. And then the next time I came in, it was so much freer. So I suppose what I'm trying to say to everybody is that as they do this beautiful, amazing work, trust themselves first. When it comes in with all that guidance and stuff like that, this is about being able to discern rather than constantly receive. It's about unfilling the cup so that you can receive. And we go, I think we're looked after, and our guides and our teams and stuff like that look after us, don't they?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
and
sure.
and I think that that's one of the biggest things we find is the emptying out, is by letting go of what is not you, by letting go of what may be distracting you, attachments that are no longer necessary. All of that makes space for the communication that is trying to come in, makes space for actually having the awareness and the clarity. Oh, that's what that message is, that's what Divine Mother, by the way, massive energy with you, wants you to connect. She wants to come do more work with you as well. So it's kind of like, in this space, she's like, yeah, I'm here with you. So it's kind of like by making this space that was available, and so it's literally by creating time for this as a priority. So time, space, simplification, all of that type of thing really is where spirit can line up with you, merge with you, and some of the things, like you said, when you're feeling sick, like I've had so many times where I've had a download or an upgrade, literally anchoring new bodies, new energetic bodies in my system. And I would have a lot of pressure on my head and feel nauseous, sick. And it's like, oh, here we go again. And, and it would just process through. And then you're like, whoo, you're to the next level, as you said. And then you're at that next expanded level. And it's really about accepting that and making the time and the space to process that, and always checking in. Okay, is this something that needs a little bit more alignment, or do I just need to breathe through this, as you said, and be connected with Mother Earth as you do it?
Another thing, an idea that comes through is the idea that maybe some people haven't thought of is, just as you would clean your house, however often you love doing it. Some people love doing it 3 times a day. Other people love doing it once a year. Whatever it is, that's how it is for your energy bodies. You're responsible for your energy bodies, and you can always learn to clean them. But it's a process. When you first did dishes, you didn't know what you were doing, how the sponge goes through the cups and how to clean it off. And, and so you had to learn it, even though it seems really simple now. That's like your energy management. It's a learning process. So if in the beginning you don't know how to clear your energetic field, or you're scared of all this stuff, well, start like facing that a little bit. There's techniques to gently move the fears out. You can breathe them down to Gaia. We love EFT tapping, even on the YouTube channel, there's a video all about the basics of EFT tapping, super simple on how to do it. It's called
crystals. I like selenite. Yeah.
Crystals, they're amazing. All about which crystals can help with drawing in things for people. And so use that, but understanding, first of all, that you are responsible for your own energy management. To who are you? What is your energetic signature on this earth? Because if you don't manage it, it's going to be managed for you by all these other influences that are going to push and pull you, and you feel like the washing machine, like you said. They're
actually designed to do it, aren't they? Like all of your advertising, and maybe you could go into conspiracy theories where it's even more full on than that. But whatever, it's the same thing. They're designed to influence us to be what they want us to be, buy what they want us to buy. And this is pillar technique, so simple and beautiful, allows us to come in and start being our own decision makers, because we see what's in our field.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And by having that pillar there, it really is your power. It's you're not as plugged into the collective matrix, and you're plugged directly to source. And so that's when you can get absolute universal truth, rather than this external feedback from just the collective, which we see is really as a hologram. All of it is just a hologram, and it's your choice where you go with that. There's so much.
You're in the main street, or you've gone out to the farm for a little while. That's very literal. So coming into that with all of this energy work and coming into Lionsgate, the obvious with today, such a powerful day. I know that lots of there's, especially the last couple of years, there's been so much influence with stars and planetary formations and things like that. So there's a couple of things I'd like to ask you and talk to you about with this. One is that, you know, the overall why so much at the moment, but then going down a bit more into that is like being able to use these kind of things and situations for our own good, you know, like, so today I'm very Syrian, so the last week I've just been in such a fantastic place, whereas everyone around me is falling to pieces, and I'm like, really, this is awesome, I love it.
Yeah.
But you know, whereas another time someone else will be feeling fantastic, and it depends on the planets with our influences and what we've got to face. So I know that so much, but how do, I suppose my question with that more internal stuff is just knowing, I suppose I'd like to talk about knowing when you've got forward force and reverse force, I suppose, is a good simple way to put it. Am I making sense?
Yeah, and there's a lot of streams coming through for you too. So we'll talk when there's a lot coming through. So what happens for us is we get a lot of information from our teams,
and then we talk over each other.
And then we talk over each other. We do that in sessions all the time. Sometimes it's quiet and we just sit and we wait to receive, and then there's just, it's like they want to say 5 things at once because it's so relevant. So the first thing is, for those of you that are watching this now or later, the Lion's Gate is an energy which opens up a portal and has to do connection with the sun and Sirius and the earth. Really what's important is that it's a time where a lot of information can be received. Now, Earth in itself is in that period that the ascension energies, as we call it, we report those on a daily basis, by the way. And those energies are increasing and increasing and have been doing so since October 2017. So we report on a daily basis on a scale from 1 to 10, how strong are these ascension energies? Like, how big are these energies coming in and why is this happening? When you have a little think about it, everything in the solar system is moving, but everything in the galaxy is moving too, and everything in the universe is moving as well.
Did you want to explain that?
That's what I'm doing now, yes. So everything in the solar system is moving to a part of the galaxy where everything is more intense, so faster. Everything is faster, so the energy is faster. And so Gaia is raising in frequency while she transitions through that. That's all been planned as she moves through that. So that's why there's a lot of information about around this time of, 2012 and beyond, in that sort of 10, 20 years around that a lot's going to be changing for humanity, because we're moving, some people like to call it 3D to 5D. Other people say 3rd density to 4th density. That's our preferred way of talking about it, because it's our society moving to more telepathic, more heart-based connections, more harmony. Everybody living their own puzzle piece rather than.
And we all chose to come here now, like as souls, we chose to be incarnated here now because this is the lessons that we want to learn and how we want to evolve.
And to help others, help humanity and Earth, because it's such a big time. And
it's very difficult for humanity to do it, and there's a lot of starseeds that have come down to get the job done, because it's been too slow. It's been much too slow, and that's why it's like, come on, wake up.
And that's why all those, that's the last, and then you take it over. The energies are really big because Gaia is moving into this, with our solar system, into this thick part of the galaxy, so to speak, and that really is elevating everything, which is also part of why everything's heating up and why everything's getting bigger, and people have to face their emotions now. A lot of people are like, they don't know what to do with their emotions because they're not facing it, or they're not using techniques, they're not using crystals, they're not using tapping, they're not grounding, they're not doing anything but, trying to keep up with the grind. But that's not going to work if you don't face what's inside of you. You're not going to win that game, because at some stage you've got to face what's inside of you, or else it leads to you feeling less and less good about yourself, or your body feels more and more tight, and it just
which is worse than what's inside of you. Like, that's what I've really come to learn. That is way worse than whatever you're going to face on the inside. Like, you just got to be brave and pull your head out.
It is about being brave. Very true. Okay, you take over.
Yeah, so with the basically, you know, our galaxy, our sun is not stagnant. We're all moving together. We're moving through this together, and no one's going to get out of this. You've either got to face your stuff, or you go through basically the 3D cycle again, the third dimension, third density cycle of this very, very human experience. And so that's why we're very passionate. And we have put things into place in our lifetime to make sure we stay on track. We stay on track to help wake up our brothers and sisters as much as we possibly can.
Yep.
And our brothers and sisters assist in waking their brothers and sisters as much as possible, because it's a very difficult place to stay awake. It's a very difficult place to stay aware of yourself, to be your own, to remember to be your own energetic signature.
Yep.
And so a lot of starseeds have come in now, and a lot of starseeds have forgotten. But the reason why they're coming in is to assist humanity to come into the space of love. Basically, you know, the humans need to come to a place of love so that they can transfer over to what we call fourth density, which is the loving space, which is where they start to really realize who they actually are. They're not just a physical being here, having a life, doing a job, and having a family. It's not. It's so much more than that. But so many people get stuck in those daily things, in these attachments and entanglements and all of that, and it's literally just been like tangled up all their life, you know. And what we want to share is it does not have to be like that, and these entanglements can be undone very quickly with tapping, with breathing, as you said, with crystals, with just consciousness, just being consciousness, being still, being with self, listening to self instead of listening outside of self to what should be done, what you're responsible for.
What programs are out there on how life, you know, what boxes do you need to tick to live the normal human life? I mean, we all know the boxes. We can recite them by heart because we're deeply programmed. And so often to be brave enough, like you said, because brave and courageous is such an important one, is to pop open the idea of what you have to accomplish in a life, what you should be doing, because that really comes from guidance from your spirit. No matter
what. And you don't have to get it right all at once. Like, you don't, I know I've been doing this stuff for years, and I'm like, sometimes I think, why haven't I got this yet? But it's not about the being right. It's about the amount of time that I spend with nature, the amount of time that I be brave, or I open-heartedly connect. You know, being on Earth is a learning process. It's never about being the finished product, is it?
Yes.
It's always about, but it's how we do it, how we choose to do it, and so what we surround ourselves with.
Yeah, but if you look at for instance, your path, you have this deep love for crystals and working with people, and now there's a new role for you opening up, which you may have done a lot of already, but it's like connecting in this way. So connecting other people and connecting information flows. And so that's how you do your life path, and then you go off, and then your spirit drives you back. And the higher you go in your ascension consciousness, we find, the more clear it is where it is. And when you're a little bit off track, it feels really big. Whereas when you're just starting off, you kind of have a little more. What's that?
I said that explains it.
And so it's kind of like when you're a little bit off track, spirits really makes it feel, because you're just really so conscious of receiving information already, that you're way off base. But when you're just starting off on this journey, you've got a lot more leeway. You've got a lot more to find out what I'm interested in. And then as you get more narrow on that bandwidth, it's like really clear. Like for us as well, when we're a little bit off track, it's very clear to us, and we readjust. When we're too much in our masculine doing energy, then we readjust to the feminine or the divine inner child, which is we need more play or thoughtfulness or stillness or beingness. Or when we're too much of that, then we need more doingness, and then that energy is realigned. So it's a constant movement of realignment within yourself. And the more fine-tuned you listen to that, like through meditation and through guidance from your teams, through signals in your life, when you're tuned in, that's when you know what's in the highest for you, what's going to make you the happiest and the healthiest, and find you that relationship that you want, sees everything that's happening. that you can't
And
from
it's
this
your
perspective.
connection to that spirit, which again comes back to that beautiful pillar technique. You know, it's like if you're not in that space, if you're always in the party and all the sirens are going off and everything, how do you can't hear? It's about giving yourself that really simple moments where you're connecting in, and it's like, everybody out. I just need some space with myself or my higher guidance, or to release, or
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. And I think that's one of the keys, is to have that inner time, that inner space to be who you are, so that it can become so natural and so normal that your everyday life becomes a meditation. Your everyday, every move that you make, every conversation that you have is presence. Every action you take, even, you know, when you're out and about shopping or in the car, your presence is anchoring in your daily life, you know, and that's where happiness comes, because
And rewards.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
find that I'm noticing where my rewards are now too. Instead of shopping or eating, or it'll be driving to work and feeling resistance and going, oh, I'm just going to allow whatever comes, and getting to work and all of this stuff flowing that I never thought possible. That beautiful. It wasn't about what happened. It was about the fact that it happened, that I allowed it. And you know, that kind of reward isn't. There's no physical.
Not tangible. Yeah.
No, it's something that's enlightening, and I think is what you were talking about when you're saying moving from third to fourth.
Yes, exactly. It's really trusting in the synchronicities, because something, as I say, can look bad on the external, but if you really delve into it and you come into a place of peace right here, there can be bubbles of bliss within that. You know, you can really find, wow, you know, the realization, the lining up with your truth can bring bliss in those moments of, you know, imagine being in a place where something looks so very bad, but letting go to a point where you actually feel so much peace that you feel free. There's a freedom within that. And that's what I was getting to, like, by being who you truly are, that is happiness. By being you without feeling forced from the external, so from relatives, from friends, from work, from finance, from you know, relationships, whatever, not running your life based on the external. That's what pulls everybody out of their unhappiness. If you get rid of everything else, the happiness is there, the joy is there, the bliss is there. That's the natural state. It's like homeostasis. It's like if you remove the misalignment, then the happiness is there. Happiness is not away. It's not in the future. It's not something to search for. It's actually something to uncover and peel off the layers and to just be who you are. I mean, being who you are is the most expanded. It's your source. We all are source. We're the spark right here, right now. So if you get rid of the stuff that's not, then you're there.
And you're always guided in the next moment, you know, what is going to bring you, let's call it happiness, because there's a lot of things people want to feel. Some people want to feel peace at sometimes, or happiness, or joy, or feeling like they're successful and they're actually getting momentum in what they want to be in the world, or whatever it is that they're after. But it's always about, if things don't feel right, your spirit is saying you need to realign a little bit. You're not really on track here. It's like your ship is hitting the rocks here, so you need to move a little bit around this area, or you need to find the little key, like Opheana said, the gold nugget, that when you move through this and you heal this little bit in yourself, no matter how you want to do it, then you come to things that you couldn't have found if you weren't brave enough to go there. So it's about doing that inner healing and not walking away from it, because it'll come back to you. Spirit will keep reminding you if you don't face it.
I like what you just did then, like just watching you. So we can see my eyes moving because I'm like looking at you in the screen over here. But just then when you went to find the word, I could feel it was tangible for me when you put your hand on your heart and you took a breath and found the word. You didn't look for it outside or in your head. You went down into your heart. It was so simple. It wasn't massive, but it was really beautiful. It was that, what do I want in this moment? And you trusted what you got and you flew. It flowed. Yeah.
And it's beautiful that you see that, because that's actually, when we do sessions, sometimes there's just nothing coming through. And sometimes that's because the person that we're transmitting to, they're not ready to receive anymore. Sometimes like their cup is full. So they need to empty out a bit of their old thoughts before we can transmit some new things. And at other times, we cannot be shut up. We just keep, it's like, you're just blah, 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 and the teams are just pumping it and pumping it. And when we say the teams, it means our spirits, their spirits, the communication of the energetic field, whatever you want to call it, is a lot to say. And that's when we get loud. That's when we talk over each other. That's when we say, you got to say, you got to. And so that's the energy flow within those dynamics as well.
Yeah, but yeah, I really liked that you witnessed that, Kelly, because that's what we like to connect with. Thanks, Nikki. What we like to connect with is the now wisdom. You know, there's so many ancient teachings that are the truth, but they're a version of the truth from that time.
Yes, I agree.
And, you know, you can get a heap of knowledge from books and knowledge from this and that. Whereas if you connect with presence is connected to all that is. And, you know, these bodies, these personalities, what, you know, we call the ego the personality, it's useful. We need it. Otherwise, spirit would just be here, you know, just not much happening, because they need a vessel to speak through. They need a vessel to express through. And it's about the vessel, the personality deciding it's okay to come into harmony with the spirit. And so by allowing the personality connecting with spirit, the words come through with the energy. It's packaged with the energy. And so really connecting with the energy now, not programs of the past, not you know, fancy you know, words or ways of the past. It can just be really now. How is it right now?
There's something else that's really nice with that too. I find when I'm like, I can go into the past, like millions of years into the past with my memories. And when I hold them as higher than now, I made mistakes back then. Well, it wasn't mistakes. I did everything right. But how I felt about what I did was a very young soul. And I keep thinking that, I used to think that because that I was this multidimensional being back then, that somehow that what I am now is less. But it's me, you know, who I am now is millions of years advanced from that soul. So if I keep remembering and feeling like the naughty teenager I did back then, I'm never going to get anywhere, you know. So this is about, just because I'm in a human body, this is a gift and something I get to play with and morph and change, and that in each moment I get to feel what's happening now. And the gift of partly doing your work as well is I'm starting to know that I have choice in each moment. I get to breathe and I get to feel, and I have a choice about how I interpret that, you know, whether I'm coming from some Egyptian person or if I'm, you know, pulling in some other information. My alchemy is now. Hey,
absolutely.
Yeah, and it's beautiful you said that. And that's, you know, physics is actually catching up to this. We've been watching a man called Nassim Haramein, and he's way out there, but he brings consciousness and physics together, meaning that the proof that everything is basically in the now and everything is inside of you. So if you look at it from a multidimensional point of view, without getting too complex, because it is a large scope to talk about, but just this, that everything from the now that you change that betters you or lets go of trauma actually helps all of your multidimensional you.
And we anchor it into the earth and create that change for everyone, don't we?
And so that ripples out much wider than just you in this particular incarnation, because you're in a lot of different places at the same time. And maybe some people haven't thought about that, but you are, because your spirit is sort of spread out in different parts. And one of them is you, and one of them is us here. That for us, one of them is, you know, these are our souls here, but there's a lot of other soul extensions, as we call them, parts of your spirit that are in other realms. And so there's
I didn't know until I did work with you guys, and that was when we did the pod. That was an extraordinary exploration, you know. And some of those soul extensions that we helped in, because these guys, if you guys don't know, these guys work occasionally, they do pods, which is a group of people from all around the world that get together once a week or something online. And if you see them doing it, please jump on. It was bloody amazing. But but some of those extensions that I helped through the help of being in this group, where I don't know if I could have done it by myself, the healing that we did, they come back and help me now, you know. Like, I'll sit next to a plant and my other soul extension will come in and go, Kelly, you're not listening, the plant's talking to you. And it's me. So but I recognize it now as something, it has another personality to it. Does that make sense? I suppose it makes sense.
Another
version of
no, you go.
Masculine,
another version of your energetic signature. So just to explain that a little bit more, it's kind of like your presence is the tree, and this soul, our soul in this incarnation on earth, is one of the branches, and you have approximately 144 branches or more, where you can be in different realms, in different realities. You could have more than one of you on this earth right now as well. So they're called, what we call them, soul extensions. They extend from your spirit, and we're experiencing things at the same time. And I just wanted to add to your statement earlier about past. We experience time here on earth because of the way that it's structured, so that we can, learn and expand in this way. But everything is actually already created. And so it's kind of like you can actually bring through, as you said, mastery from other times, from, say, Atlantis, or from other past lives that you have mastered, being a sorceress, or, other realms where you have mastered this or that, which are soul extensions. But even this specific soul can have gifts and masteries that you haven't yet anchored in this lifetime, where you open up your ass when you're ready and make space. And those masteries, those gifts can come through in this lifetime, and you can use them again.
Yeah. That's very well said, because once you heal a part of you, actually it flips to the other side, so to speak, where it can actually then help you.
Yes.
And so the more of your multidimensional nature that you start healing, it always starts, we find, with healing sort of what's right here, right now. Like, if you still got to deal with your emotions here and your physical body stuff here, that's where it starts. Then we find you get into your multidimensional stuff. And then more of your clair senses often open up, and you have access to more of your gifts. But it always starts here. You got to do this stuff here first before all of that comes in. And it doesn't, I just want to add, it doesn't mean that the clair senses can't be open before you do this healing. However, to advance those more and to open up more of your gifts, you've got to really, deal with the stuff here too. If you've still got wounding from when you were a kid or a teenager, just got to tap it out, or use crystals, or whatever methods. There's so many methods to use. Get that job done first, and then you can expand more into your multidimensionality.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and these moments in time, like the Lionsgate portal, these are opportunities. And that's what you're saying with the ascension energies.
Yeah, it's going to come back to me.
The sun has just these waves of energy that are just bathing earth, and it's opportunity for growth. It is opportunity for heightening the consciousness. It's such high frequency. And with the Sirius has basically gifted the sun with all this, and now the sun's going to gift us, especially on a day like today, very, very high level. And so it's a beautiful time to gift ourselves with presence as much as possible at the moment.
Where we don't have to work so hard, hey? We can actually just receive and feel and get something brand new that we've not tasted before.
Exactly. But always emptying out enough so that the new can come through, always taking responsibility enough for letting go of what is needed to be let go of. That's what we see it over and over again, is that when people hold on to situations that look very normal to hold on to, it can be the one thing that is stopping that download from coming in. I mean, we see people and they just, got all this stuff that's coming through. It's like compacted. It's like a huge dam, and we're like, woo! Okay, let's do some belief work. Let's deal with some
I think
emotions.
sometimes people get. I know for myself, it's been a really tangible experience. Being comfortable in the void, being comfortable with not being full, it's a new experience. We're not taught that. We're taught to be full, and especially
yes, perfect. I love that.
Being open in that space where there is nothing, so that you can accept something new coming in. You can always discern whether you like it or you don't like it. But if you're full and everything's too loud, you're not picking what's coming in and what's not. You just
it's a time of extreme stimulation. Got my phone, got my computer, got some food, got activities, this, that, the other, always producing. It's constant stimulation, and you see that in the movies too, which we really enjoy. But it's just they've become more and more and more stimulating, you know. And when you watch a movie from the 80s or something, it's like, whoa, you know. So there's some really good ones, but the effects are not as stimulating. So we're used to this intense beta kind of fast energy, and so we see when people start emptying out, it can get quite uncomfortable. They're like, I don't know what to do.
There's nothing.
I don't feel
bored. I feel depressed.
And that's the thing. It's like a detox. It's like you got to empty the body.
Recognize it. Hey, recognize that and see it and allow it to move past the uncomfortableness.
Yes, it's very normal part of the process. And I want to say one more thing, because the team's saying, okay, say that. For anyone listening to this who finds some of the concepts a bit too far out yet to do, but are interested in exploring more of their internal world or portals and find all that, you know, sci-fi stuff pretty cool, just start with your pillar and calling in the teams that you're happy with, even just your guides. Say, guides, be with me and keep my space nice and safe and protected.
And they don't have to know who the guides are, do they? It's a feeling or a color. They can bring in gold or light blue.
And then they can start exploring that journey, because often fear stop them and will keep stopping them from getting all this cool stuff that awaits them.
Yes, absolutely. And like, you know, in the pod, Kelly, we really, it doesn't have to always be seeing.
We've got a tiny feedback loop. Maybe just click down one volume. We'll give one volume.
It doesn't have to be a high level seeing. It can be a feeling. You know, people's clairsenses are different, and they open up at different levels, and so it can just be a feeling, a knowing, a hearing of what the guides are saying. It can be one word. It can just be one picture. It can be a sense, a physical sensation in the body, or spritzing in the body.
Yes.
All of those things.
That allows that new stuff, not the old story, because they've got to remember it's a new story a lot of the time. And those old feelings and things they already know, if they get more of it, they're just getting more of it. This is about, letting the other stuff back in.
Stepping out of the washing machine.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that's one of the things as well is that people are used to the washing machine, and when they're not in it anymore, sitting above it, looking at it, it can feel weird, it can feel detached, it can feel cold. It's a new place to be, and that's getting used to what we call the light quotient, not just the love energy.
Yeah, that's a big one too.
You know, there's many aspects to love, and light is within that. But the light quotient, and that's where light comes in the higher densities. We're mastering light. You know, the Atlantean sort of times, they mastered more the light energy, and the Lemurian mastered more of the love energy. But on their own, they were imbalanced. And so, you know, a lot of, especially starseeds and light, it's a lot of love. You know, big love quotient, but the discernment there, and the light quotient isn't there. The truth, what we call, you know, light is truth. Light is real, authentic wisdom, and getting used to that feeling can be quite uncomfortable in itself as well, because it's like it can feel detached. It's because the personality is not in the washing machine. It's like you're not connected to that anymore, and so it can feel like you're disconnected. So it's getting used to that feeling of present.
That's where I find that's my Gaia connection coming up. She's just going, tell them. But that's where, like, instead of being in the dryer, like I'm putting it in, like putting symbols to it, but it's like hanging yourself on the line in the sun. Go outside and sit down in the sun. You know, just chill, because you're getting stimulated, you're getting those different energies, but it's different, it's tangible. So just or sitting on the earth to release, you know, giving back the compost, or so those small things that you can do, that the earth and the stars, like at the moment with the Lion's Gate and all of those different things, where we're all together, like they're here to help us, not just to be horrible and in retrograde. Not that I think retrograde's actually horrible, but that they've got those things naturally. Go outside, eat fruit instead of eating a Mars bar.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And that's the thing that you know, we assist people, coach people through, I guess, is the dropping off of what the mind and the programming in the field has said is yummy. Mars bars are yummier than a banana. Are they? No. Or have you been so overstimulated that you can barely taste the banana anymore and the goodness in it, or the smoothie that you can make with it? And that's the thing. That's like everything in life. There's so many layers and entanglements in these situations that people feel like they can't do without them anymore, that they have to be doing these activities or be with these people, or, you know, stimulating their mind in this way, or reading a book to learn something new, when they're making themselves do it rather than it coming from that present space.
Yeah. Which again comes back down to that, doing that pillar regularly, at least once a day. And it's so easy, because that's where they can, it doesn't have to be hard work to do something new. They just naturally are defragging, getting back in. Like, even just thinking about it, I can feel my energy going out at least another 6 or 7 foot. Like, it's not so hard work all the time when you've got that space around you. Yeah.
You can really meditate in that space. You know, you open your heart space, you can expand your heart space to the size of the earth. Now would be a good time to do it, to really download hardcore, and to also really ground your energetic signature here, because the more of us that do that, the more of that high frequency we are anchoring here to this planet, which allows more humans to wake up, more humans to love themselves at a deeper level, to wake up from, you know, the matrix and realize
and they're enough. Just to know that they're enough already, you know, just that feeling inside of that heartfelt love, even if it is for a book that they just read, or, you know, looking at the sun coming through the window and anchoring that in and feeding that into the earth. That's more than enough. It's beautiful that everybody doesn't have to be a scientist or, you know, the world's best guru. It's not about that. It's about what you're feeling in those everyday moments of just being safe.
You said it very beautifully. Everybody is here to be their puzzle piece.
Yes.
And one of the big traps. How are we for time? I feel we're sort of getting to.
Yeah, we're over 15 minutes already.
So just this last thing as well is to be that puzzle piece that you came here to be, and to step away from the comparison trap, because that's the one where people get stuck. That's the one where they're programmed. You have only if you are this type of individual are you valuable. But if you're exactly who you're meant to be and you're following your guidance and what your heart is telling you, then you are your puzzle piece, and the rest doesn't matter. Because if you're not here to be a Nobel Prize winner or this famous actress or whatever, then it's not going to make you happy anyway. So just be happy.
That's right.
And that's the amazingness that you come to bring.
Absolutely. So, I was just going to touch on the same from another angle. It's the lower consciousness of being driven by your circumstances, usually from childhood. And people are just driven by that space, driven by, I've got to prove it to my father, I've got to prove it to my parents, I've got to prove it to the outside world, I've got to prove it to that kid that bullied me when I was 10, I've got to prove this, I've got to prove to myself that I'm smart enough because wasn't very good, I've got to prove this, I've got to prove that, I've got to make enough money for that, I've got to, you know, be okay with myself once I'm here, I'll be loved when, I'll get approval when. It's all outside of self, and going for any of those will not bring happiness. Not maybe for the tiniest moment, and within an instant of it actually being grasped, it just disappears because it's not real. It's all an illusion. And that's why just being you brings it all of the happiness, all of the joy, you know. And it doesn't mean that it's not challenging here on earth, but being you is where you're free, and that's where the joy is being free,
where you get
no
to
matter
be really
what's
happy.
happening.
Because in the end, I mean, and you can talk another 5 hours about every one of these subjects, but the being happy, feeling peace within yourself, and feeling like you are being you in the world, that's what it really is about. Not about all the other
spirit coming into me one day. I was sitting in a shop I owned, I don't know, having a mind trip about something, and spirit came in so clear. Like, you know, there's those moments where it's really clear, where they've just come in and overlaid, just shut everything else down. And I went, Kelly, you don't have to be comfortable. It's not about being comfortable. And I'm like, so happiness doesn't have to be comfort either. Happiness can be that being uncomfortable and moving through it and having that challenge and that spark and that life and that action. And then at work, you know, it doesn't have to always come from being sparkles and rainbows and stuff. It's about that growth and that personal, okay, I'm acknowledging this sucks, so what do I want to do about it? Kind of internal stuff.
Then you have choices, because I think one of the illusions in this sort of spiritual world is that only when you feel bliss all of the time are you doing it right.
That's what I wanted to address. It's not true.
No, it's just not true. But it doesn't mean you won't feel bliss and you won't feel peace and you won't feel happy. Because if you're not feeling it any time, then there is something to be addressed.
And when you do feel it and you've been doing the work, it's so much better, because it's just so much more than what you've ever felt before.
Exactly.
But you know, going within at any point in time, you can experience that bliss. But we're here as human beings to anchor our work, and that's what I liked what you said earlier. We're not here to have a happy, joy human experience as starseeds, as light workers. We're here to get some stuff done. But you can love doing it. You can love doing it.
And be happy.
By being truly who you
and be
are.
Happy with it. And when you're doing what you love doing, then you're going to be the most happy with it. But do you need to move through initiations and heal your wounds? Yeah.
Get rid of the old.
So coming back to, because we'll go to 20 past, so we've got 4 more minutes.
Great,
So coming back to the Lionsgate energy in that now, because like we've talked about all this amazing stuff. So how can we anchor it, and how can we utilize this energy at the moment, because it's massive, in the best way? And I know that everybody feels it a little bit different. So
I'll add one thing
on now.
You'd have, so the thing I would add straight away is, after this, or when you've seen this or listened to this, do your pillar and sit in meditation for at least 5 to 15 minutes. Receive whatever you get, because then it's the clearest channel now. Use it, because that's all going to move. It's like the phone line is max power right now. And so that's what I would suggest straight away. And then write some things down, or get some images, or let yourself be guided by your teams. That would be what I would say.
And just to really flip it to the other side as well, there's always energy available. Always, always, always. It doesn't have to be on a day like today, but today is extra cool because it's really strong. And so, like Sikaal said, just create a sacred space and just call it in. Do the temples. You could ask for a Syrian temple of love, of light, of wisdom. You can basically ask for whatever temple you want. You can ask for, if you have trouble seeing or with your clair senses, or you get frustrated in meditation, just really ask for your teams. Just assist me to focus. Ask for Temple of Clarity.
I like that.
Yeah, it's really nice, because
really
with
helps.
busy minds and busy lives, you can sort of, be pulled this way. Just say, no, guys, help me focus. Bam, let's do this. And open the door. You're in the temple and say, okay, bring it. I want to download whatever is in the highest for me in my life at this time and for my mission at this time. It's as simple as that, and then let it play out. And if you're being pulled away, focus. I ask for focus now. Please assist me to
curiosity.
focus.
It's my big thing. Like I know to get my brain, because I'm so I want to discover. So for my brain to come back and sit in my heart, I've opened that curiosity. Like I just tell my head, be curious. Shh, just let's be curious. So watch what's going to happen. Let's, you know. So I'm still engaged. I'm still connected.
Which is a real inner child, divine inner child thing too. Be curious. Be open to what can come. Be open instead of thinking it's a certain way or listening to the old ways of programs.
And it's really like you said, just being in that that divine energy and trusting whatever comes, because if you can hold on to a symbol that they show you, sometimes that can be a doorway or a portal into the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. And so just really keep surrendering to that. And if it's just all black, just ask again and command, ask your personality, come on, come into harmony with this. It's going to be cool. Let's do this.
And even if you just receive the voidal energy, like you said, and it's that black energy,
receiving,
what energy do you feel? Even if it's support, or even if you feel nothingness, then move through that, the discomfort of it, because that's the blessing you get then. It's starting
nothingness is awesome. That's the blank room. That's where all possibility is. It's like, so everyone says, I can't do it, I'm not getting anything. Like, that's it. That's what you've got to get, you know?
And be comfortable in that, like you said. If you sink through the discomfort of being in the void, that's where you find the next level, whether it's the next more comfortable void experience, or that's when colors start to open up, or whatever. Everybody's so different in their journey.
But like I said, if you've just done your pillar and you ask for the energy to receive the energy, that's going to be enough, and to just keep expanding. And if there's any pressure at any time, there's downloads coming, and it's like, just keep expanding. Each of the chakras expanded as it moves through, emptying it out, and then receiving the next level of it. So play.
Okay. I could talk to you guys forever and ever and ever, so we're going to need to do this again. What do you have that, because I'd really like you to get out to more people. So what do you have that people can utilize? How can they access your amazing gifts and talents? Well, I've been putting it out on the Facebook.
Our main area is YouTube, where we share our meditations and our discussions similar to this. And then we have our website, divineheart.com.au. We have Ascension Consciousness reading, which is the first step to working with us. And that's reading basically on where your consciousness is at, little areas of willingness that you can work on. There's quite a bit of information and an activation when you receive it. And then from there, we see if we can work together in session, that type of thing. So that's sort of sessions and that, and the YouTube. Is there anything else there? We've got quite a bit of information.
I mean, Divine Heart will have, there's a link called just Ascension Tools, which has like a scale where you can look at a reading. Go to the YouTube channel. There's 170 videos on there, including heaps and heaps and heaps of meditation.
We share the Ascension, daily Ascension number.
Daily Ascension number.
Instagram as well.
Yeah.
But it's all Opheana Sikaal, so.
On Facebook, it's Opheana Sikaal.
Opheana Sikaal.
Our page, yeah.
Okay.
That was beautiful, Kel. Thanks for the invite.
Thank you. And any last messages out to everybody? Last bit to give out to the world?
Be brave and go for it. Really listen to yourself.
I like that.
Be the puzzle piece. It's time.
And
it is time.
Just do it. Exactly. You know, it really is the time. The teams just bring that through all the time. Now is the time. Now is the time. Now is the time. Guys, just do it.
And you can keep waiting, and you can keep waiting, but why not do it now? Why not move towards the next phase? Just line up, get stuff out of the way, and go for it.
Yeah, and they're never too broken, are they? They've never done so much bad stuff that they can't actually start being in harmony. That's just not true.
Absolutely. You know, all of them. Yeah, that's what I say, especially to our kids. I'm like, please make a mistake. You're going to learn so much. Make a mistake. Go on, do it. Mistake.
And then you learn from it.
And then you learn and you're like, oh, okay, so don't like that. I do like that. This is the way to go. Great.
It's hard to not keep chatting, isn't it?
It's hard,
okay, but we'll just stop chatting. So would you be comfortable seal it up, Kel?
Yeah.
Just seal it up and then you
beautiful.
Ask for this energy exchange to be sealed and to integrate with Gracie's love, light, empowerment, send it all down to the heart of Gaia, accessible for all who are ready. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So be it, so be it, so be it is done. Beautiful. Over to you.
Done. Thank you. So I'm sure we will get more questions underneath this video as people watch it. I might shoot them on to you if we get any more. So if anybody does have questions, either go over to the guys' Facebook page or put them underneath this video. And obviously, depending on how many questions, to what we can get back to, but we might even look forward and do this again another time soon. Okay, I love you all. You all rock in the whole entire universe. Do it. Love yourself. Do your pillar. Connect to Mother Earth. Get outside on the ground. And enjoy these massive amounts of energy and use them for good.
Yeah.
Okay. See you, everyone. Bye.
Lots of love. Take care.
Lots of love.
Bye.